Well, here we are 1 year in. Who would have thought it? And yet it is an opportunity for us to reflect on some of the strange blessings that have fallen from the beclouded skies of COVID. Because we've learned a lot. We've learned about what makes us human and what makes us Christian. We've learned that crisis challenges us to forge new pathways and to live creatively with limitation. Of course, there were always many in our world who already knew much about this, and they've often been our teachers. We've learned about patience and how very impatient we are. We've learned about forbearance and how very intolerant we can be. We've learned how we can unite nationally, globally to achieve common aims if we have the will to do so. We've seen the very best and the very worst in ourselves, and we've been required to own up to the prejudices and self-interests that animated our past and still determine our present. It's been hard for all the obvious reasons, and personally hard for so many. Hard too, perhaps, because we people of Jesus Christ have discovered that our faith hasn't made most of us into heroes. And although there's been much generosity and evidence, in large part we have had to receive that generosity from others. But this is the nub of the matter. We've seen love in action on a vast scale, love enabled and resourced corporately through state and institution, love demonstrated intimately and personally in the self-sacrifices of the little people too often ignored. We too, all of us, have acted in love. When we've isolated and masked ourselves, denied ourselves contact with family or friends, shopped for our neighbour, bubbled with the lonely person down the road. Love which isn't glamorous or eye-catching, doesn't put us in the limelight, but which yet forms the weft and the warp of our collective being. And whatever a recent court case may or may not have said about the right of government to restrict our worship, yet I would maintain that we restrained ourselves not because of law, but because of grace, because that was the loving thing to do. There have been failures too, and no human crisis, it seems, is immune from the profiteer or the political opportunist. So though as innocent doves we may say thank you and hooray, as cunning serpents we have to be alert to all that threatens to increase division and privilege and entitlement for the few rather than the many. A different world awaits us, but in many ways the same world, because people don't change, not really. And so whatever lessons the Church must learn from all this, at heart the fundamental message is the same, and we live it again this Holy Week, that God is with us in the depths of our brokenness, and that somehow the mystery of God's love takes all that brokenness and makes it a cause for hope.